So let's move over to NASCAR. Daytona 500 this weekend. I want to start with Ryan Newman. For you folks watching online on Facebook and on YouTube, there is Newman standing up with his little girls, and that is, I couldn't be any more amazing. I didn't think he'd be walking, much less, you don't see how good are the fire suits, how good is his protection. Through the years, Newman has been one of the guys that has vocalized his displeasure with NASCAR and the safety that they have. He's voiced numerous times his problems with the car staying on the track and getting up in the air. It's really kind of his biggest issue. And, Zach, when it happened, you weren't watching live, were you?
Yes.
You were watching live. Okay. So, Zach and myself watching live, and maybe Hunter was not watching live.
No, I was not. What was this? Was Monday night? Yeah, right. I was playing basketball. I had a basketball game.
Hunter had an important basketball game.
I did. It was a church basketball game. You know what was bad about it? It's we only had 5 guys because everybody else was busy and couldn't make it.
They were watching the Daytona 500.
We only had 5 guys on our team, while the other team at least had 2 or 3 different subs. So needless to say, I was gassed.
I don't know if I want to use a.
Yeah, I was watching live. And I will say this before we even get to that. I thought it was a great Daytona 500. I thought it was very competitive. My guy didn't. I thought Kyle Busch was going to win it. He had opportunity, blew his engine, and then after Kyle went out. I keep saying Kurt for Kyle. I was hoping Chase Elliott had a shot, and then everybody's had their problems. Yes, I was watching live. My wife came home after everything was over, and I was still kind of stunned. She was at church. She had a women's meeting. And she said, what's wrong? And I was like, I just watched this, and I said, the crazy thing was I was looking up deadly wrecks at Daytona, and they lost like 8 people at Daytona. And when I seen that wreck there, I was just like, I was really concerned that he was dead because he gets turned very similar to Earnhardt did. He hits the wall upside down. Everybody's seeing it. The problem I heard a guy that was a racer talk about this. He said the spinning is not a problem. Him up in the air right there spinning, he is fine. He said what scared him the most is when he got T-boned in the driver's side. He said because that's what makes you, with the Hans device or without, that makes your brain hit your skull.
Right.
And he said when your brain hits your skull, that's when you get a brain injury. He said that's where he was really concerned about. Then you see him going down the back stretch across the finish line on fire in the cockpit on his side. So the top, everything is shrapnel is coming off that. It's amazing the shrapnel didn't get to him because the car was a shell of itself, and then they put the black screens up. Mm-hmm. And I text Kevin right off the bat, and I'm like, first thing I was thinking in my mind was get him out of the car. And the gas, did you see the gas spilling out of it? I was like, it's going to explode.
I was yelling at the screen, get there, get there, get there. The first Joker that gets out of the truck couldn't get it. He couldn't get it going. He couldn't get his fire extinguisher going. He never got it going. The first guy never helped.
I've got cold chills right now just because I'm watching the gas pour out. And it's on fire. And you're like,
the fire is this far away from the gas.
And if it explodes, he might not make it.
Right.
And then they have to turn the car over and then get him out. And what scared me the most, me and Kevin was texting back and forth. I thought the silence of not saying what was wrong with him was a bad sign. Mm-hmm. I thought they was trying to get a hold of his next of kin or whatever else. Because same thing happened with Dale. They said Dale was dead when they actually got to the car. But it took about 2.5 hours before they made any announcement to that. But great finish. It was great. And it's just a really bad. He tried to block both. This is what he did. He tried to block top. He comes down. He tries to block below. And when he done that, was it LaJoy?
LaJoy is the one who hit him in the.
It spun him.
Right here. This is where fans are mad about. Is that they wanted them to call the caution here and end the race.
They could have done that. Everybody's out of the play.
They crossed the finish line. And the rule is, with the last lap, as soon as the white flag comes out, the next flag ends the race. So, at this point, and what NASCAR does sometimes, if the wreck is behind the leaders, they'll let them finish.
Which I thought they were going to do that.
Right, which is what they decided to do at that second. They gave it. They probably gave it to. They have to make it in 5-second decision, right? Like you got to make that decision before they get to turn 3 and 4. So NASCAR decides to let this wreck go for you folks watching online, and they take off down the backstretch with Denny leading, and you know. Just Zach, I want to go through the wreck real quick from what I was thinking was.
Here's the pass.
That was outstanding. They took off right there.
It was great. I mean, I was like excited, and I'm not any of these 3 driver fans.
So I'm gonna do the wreck first, and then I want to back up to the actual racing. So on the wreck, what Zach's saying and what I agreed with was when they showed the replay. When he first wrecked, you couldn't tell because it was a wide shot. But when they first showed the replay, I said, "Oh my God, I think I just watched him die."
Yeah,
because when folks, he got hit at 195 miles per hour in the driver's door. It wasn't even the door, Zach.
It was like the roof,
window.
Yeah, roof
he was
window
upside
area.
down, so it wasn't even. He had no protection.
Roll cage wasn't there.
The front grill of Corey LaJoie's car hit pretty much Ryan Newman in the helmet.
Yeah.
That's as close as I could come to describing what had happened. And then, like Zach said, once it flipped him upside down, it never rolled over again, and he stood on his. It was on his upside down head, and then when the whole inside lit up in flames,
it was
because
the cockpit was on fire.
My thought was, he just got knocked unconscious. Yeah. The whole thing's on fire. He can't protect himself. He's laying
he can't
there
get to the extinguisher.
Right. He's laying there upside down. Maybe unconscious, maybe broke. I thought at least broken legs, broken back. I mean, he got a direct hit, Zach. A person was directly hit. It wasn't like he hit him in the rear at 195. He hit him in the opposite side. He hit the window.
Yeah, it was
at 195. Awful. And LaJoie, as soon as the race was over,
he looked like he seen.
He got out the car and was down on his knees crying.
Yeah,
like he knew something was bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is the worst one I've ever saw. The Earnhardt one. You didn't think was bad because he just hit the fence.
It's only one I've seen.
That's the least, I've seen way worse wrecks. We've seen tons of worse wrecks.
Richard Petty.
Than the Earnhardt wreck. The Earnhardt wreck was nothing.
I told my wife, I said, it reminded me of Earnhardt and Richard Petty combined.
Earnhardt would have died from this one because he wouldn't have been wearing the harness device. That was Earnhart's problem.
He said he wouldn't wear anything. He said halftime he'd leave his 5-point harness just kind of loose, and he would set way down. He died because he didn't want to do this. It tells how awesome their safety. You ever seen Richard
Petty's car?
Talk about awesome.
His seat isn't straight. Petty's seat is turned at like a 15-degree angle so he can take the turns better.
Huh.
Richard Petty's seats and looking at the old cars. Dale Earnhardt was looking at him and he sent him out on the tweet. He's like, "What is this?" And they responded back that they had to turn the seats to ride the corners better in those old cars like that. So they're sitting there, Zach, can you just imagine no power steering at 200 miles per hour, leaning sideways and on a wooden seat, basically.
Awesome.
I mean, just those dudes crazy.
I mean,
but yeah. So when it happened, I thought, I honestly thought he might die. I texted my wife. I was watching in my room. I told her to come in here. Don't bring the kids. And she walked out there. I was like, I may have just seen Ryan Newman get killed. And just watching it afterwards, Zach, and you and me text back and forth about it, at least say he's breathing.
Yes.
Like everyone in there, by not giving you anything, and you put up the black tarps and you tell it all the press has to leave and they're taking him to the hospital, what other conclusion do you think than, oh crap, he's dead, or all of his bones are broken or something. And they don't tell you he's breathing. I mean, that was my thing. Tell us he's breathing. If y'all tell us that will change a little bit, because people don't want to think that they just watched somebody die instantly. And then people were talking about Hamlin out there celebrating stuff. They had no idea what was going on.
He unplugged his head.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, at no point, how many wrecks have we seen at the end of a race?
Every single Daytona
at
ends
no point
like that.
Do the drivers drive around and check on the other drivers after a wreck? Denny Hamlin didn't even see the wreck. It was behind him.
No, he's passing.
Right.
I mean,
Hamlin was in front when the wreck happened.
Too quick.
And so I don't blame them at all. And Joe Gibbs immediately,
Awesome as
since
they
he figured
are,
out what was going on, started
pray.
praying with everybody, grabbing folks, apologized to the crowd for Hamlin and them, trying to celebrate. And what I think a lot of it is, Zach, you've got the sponsors and the TV saying, hey, victory lane, hey, we got to get this. You got to get up there and do it. And Hamlin in the post race interview, he didn't even want to mention the sponsors' names hardly, really. You know, he's sitting there talking about Ryan, and then he's like, in the Pepsi 40, Ford, blah blah blah, that whole deal. So so today we get the good news. It took a few hours to give that he was responsive, and then today we get the good news, folks, that he's up and walking around.
And he looks normal.
He looks like he did. There's no scratches, no burns.
It's amazing.
I can't believe he's walking. I just assumed, because they haven't updated us,
I agree.
I assumed that he's going to come out and he's never going to walk again.
I thought so, too.
I thought that he's going to come out in a wheelchair, even if it might be a month before we ever see him again. And we're sitting here looking at him 2 days later, standing up with his girls, and they've had a rough family issues the last few weeks as well, and this year to compound that, Zach. And so I couldn't be any more happier to see Ryan Newman smiling right there. I mean, that's just an amazing picture and great. I want to know what all the injuries are now.
He looks good right there.
Right.
And yesterday it came out and said that he was conscious. So is he unconscious for a whole day? Did he have a major concussion? He had to have a concussion.
Oh yeah.
And did he get completely knocked out? Or did they put him in an induced coma to do some stuff? I don't know. I guess it'll come out later.
Right. Hopefully.
But I'm just happy it's like that. He looks good.
Let's see. He's now fully alert and walking around medical center. True to his jovial nature, he has been joking around with the staff and friends while spending time playing with his,
friend
with
of
his
mine,
2 daughters.
Mitchell Alderman texted me, and he said, when we found out he was awake, he said, I wonder if his first question was, did I win?
It was close. He about did.
Would it not been like if he slid upside down? Somebody's won like that before. But, man, cold, chilling, bone jarring. I was stunned for a day and a half.
All right, so this brings up a few questions. Zach was talking about the racing, and the racing was good.
Mm-hmm.
I was mad at Joey Logano for a little bit. And I usually
Too aggressive.
I don't really get mad at the drivers for being who they are, and I don't get mad at the drivers for racing. But when you affect everyone else, this is like playing. He took
a third of the field out.
I'll give you an idea. He almost did the move where you're playing the video game and you're not going to win. There's Corey LaJoy. When you're playing the video game and you're not going to win, and you just decide to take out the whole field. So Logano, they got a good run.
You decided just to cut somebody off and take everybody else.
They got a good run, and instead of backing off of it, which you can't lift too much in Daytona at all in Talladega, is that he pushed the person in front of him, and then he pushed the next guy, and then what happened was they wrecked 30 cars. Yeah. And Hunter, the way the cars bounced, Logano didn't get touched. So after he wrecks the whole field, he still has a chance to win. And what made me mad about it, Zach, if you'll remember in the race, they're late in the race, they had to take green flag changes. And the Fords and Toyotas did different changes than Chevys did. And you remember Chevys, they were actually leading the race.
Mm-hmm.
If that stuff doesn't happen, the Chevys would have been up front. If Logano doesn't wreck everybody there, Johnson would have been up front. He was running outstanding, and Chase Elliott and those guys.
Yep.
So what happened right before those wrecks was we had green flag stops. They cycled through, and the Toyotas, who hadn't been in the lead all day, are now all of a sudden in the lead. And that's when Logano wrecked someone. And remember, like I just said, he hasn't been there the whole day. They had been riding in the back with the Bush and everybody. And now they're up near the front. Does that cause some of it that being it, you race restrictor plate racing, you know how to do it.
Yes.
But that's not the same exact day. That's not the same conditions, same temperature, same moving. And then he got moving so fast on that and pushing those guys. Do you think we got to do something different? Do you think that caused part of that as well?
Two things come up in that. First off, Jimmy Johnson, I don't know if you've seen his interview. Did you see where he was talking about Logano was just too aggressive? He said sometimes you just can't do that. So, and I'll take Jimmy Johnson. I agree with him. And two, we need to look at, is this too dangerous? is this too dangerous to race like that? What you're talking about,
Right.
And it's my father-in-law called me and he said, he said, there's having too much of this happen here and it's going to cost somebody their life. He said, do we come up with a different engine that we put in these cars and we don't let them bumper to bumper draft like that they do to cause some of this stuff to race like they used to race at this particular super speedways. They've made improvement. One thing you can say about NASCAR recently, they've made improvements. Anytime something like this comes up, I'm sure they're going to address more safety things that can happen. I'm sure they'll toot their horn about how great they've done with the Hans device and everything else to keep him from not dying. But they're gonna have to look at it and do something. You don't want to make it where it's not fun. You know, I hate that. I was hoping he was going to win.
Boo, Kyle
I know
Busch.
everybody thinks Kyle Busch.
He still wins.
But
he still friggin' wins.
But yeah, they're gonna.
So
have to address it.
here's the wreck if you're watching it online. So Hunter, is this your first time seeing it, Hunter?
We'll see. Well, no,
The big one.
No, this is not my first time seeing the big one.
So Logano ride, push, bump, and when he
This is not the big race. This is the Logano wreck.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
so when he bumped,
Yeah, I can see him right there in the yellow car. He's all up in his he's up
and
in
if
his
you watched
rear
him
end.
before that, he's got so much speed come up. He
Right.
knew he should have backed off.
Well-
This is not the spot that you want to make that move anyway.
so he hit so what he did, he pushed
Mhm.
the 10 Amarola into Keselowski, and Keselowski didn't hit him square on the bumper.
No.
And that's the problem. When you can hit him square and
Or-
push him.
yeah.
But if you hit him
If you clip
any
him,
bit,
On the corner,
like see how he hit him
and split,
moving sideways instead of going
and
straight.
that moves the air, and then boom,
And then watch this. Everybody behind.
it's just
Boom, 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 boom,
Everybody.
boom, 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 through the grass. Then I'm gonna hit another guy. You know who I was pulling for near the end was Clint Boyer.
yeah.
I was pulling hard for
there's
Clint Boyer
Chase. I
once they
wanted
got
Chase
once
Elliott, too.
Jimmy got wrecked right here. I mean, just and out goes everybody. And Logano survived. He's the one that
Right.
gets.
He gets his later.
Yeah, I tweeted
He
out.
got it later.
Zach, that was my exact tweet. It
Oh.
was I wasn't happy about that, and so I actually got to that. I want to make sure I read it word for word. So, because what he did was, like I said, he wrecked the whole field.
He's
So
a better
how is
driver
it
than that,
fair?
too.
How is it fair for him to be in it? So we were when I went to if you remember the Roval last year, Chase Elliott wrecked in the front of the field. He ran straight into the tires, remember? And they put him back in about halfway in the field instead of in the back. Well, you caused the wreck.
Right.
Why do you get to go back to where you were? So Logano, and that's my thing. I said Logano should be black flagged or at least sent to the back of the field after the wreck. He wrecked the whole field. His car is fine, and he still has a chance to win. Hate when this happens. This is not fair. They should park him.
Or at least, black flag him. At least make him go into the pits and do the
Sit for
stop,
30
go,
seconds
yeah.
or whatever it is, stop and go, something in the back of the flag. I just don't think it's fair at all. And then a few minutes later, you're saying he did get wrecked, and I put the racing gods took care of that. But just look at this. Logano gets through it.
That I thought that was the big one.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, well, there's only 5 guys that can.
But this happens every Daytona. You can pull up any Daytona in the last 10 years, and that happens.
Now, we mentioned this last week, didn't we, Hunter? About they take 3 cars down there. Should they even take their best car,
No.
or should they take a beater?
Set it to back, take
It's
a beater.
survival.
Yeah, that's why none of them was racing at the beginning. The Toyotas,
Right.
they set it to back for the whole first leg of the race, and they're just like, we don't care.
It's survival up until then.
And they had fast cars because they were running. I was watching. They was running 192 when they was at the back of the pack. When those Toyotas got up front, they were running anywhere between 199 and 202.
I saw. Oh, I wish I'd have saved the tweet. There was a tweet, Zach, specifically about that. About the speeds this time. I think it was compared to the Dale ones were about 12 mile per hour faster.
This time,
Right now, today, based on when that wreck was or something. I think
they had got up to 205 a couple times. I was like, that's pretty high.
See, so the argument is either, Zach, if you slow them down, they're going to be bunched. Or do you let them just go as fast as they damn can? Here's the other one that people have said. Hunter, see what you think. should they take the banking down at Daytona and Talladega to where they can't carry those speeds like Pocono?
Yeah,
because you have to break in Pocono in the Brickyard. You have to break in the corners. And because right now it's better. If you've ever played a NASCAR racing game or anything, you just hold the gas at Daytona and Talladega and ride it out. What do you think about that? Any of that? You think they should look into? How do you fix that?
I don't think cosmetically you can fix that at Daytona. It's already the way it is. I mean, can you imagine what it would cost, or not even what it would cost?
Oh, they've made enough money over the years to redo
it.
the corners.
I did find out something I didn't know about that though. The water that's in the middle of the pond, they dug that up to make the corners. That's why they got a pond in the middle. That was the hole they did. Is that not pretty cool?
The dirt, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're gonna have to do something. I thought it was one of the best Daytona 500s I'd watched though. I enjoyed it.
Right, and I was upset with because I thought the Chevys were doing good.
They were,
and it was a mixture, and I thought we was going to have a great race, and then there at the end, I think Logano messed up what could have been a great race. This weekend, they're in Auto Club 400 in Las Vegas. Me and Hunter will touch more on that on Friday once they get more details on that. We'll of course have broadcast coverage of that on KTC Broadcasting, WCSL 1590 AM and 92.3 FM. If the Chevys can keep those speeds, I think we'll have this could be an outstanding year. Put it this way, if Jimmy Johnson's running good and competing for wins, it's going to be a good year because that means all the Chevys will be good as well. So this weekend in Vegas, mile and a half tri-oval track, pretty much like Charlotte, I guess. 20 degrees banking in each turn. Open at 96. Stage 1 is 80. Stage 2 is 80 laps, and stage 3 is 107 laps. Martin Truex Jr. has won 12 races on a mile and a half since 2016, twice as many as the next, almost twice as many as the next closest driver. Stage 2 winner at Vegas has won all 5 races in Vegas. We'll give some previews on Friday from Hunter and I. Last year's winner was Logano, so we'll see if he can repeat. Active Vegas winners, can Jimmy Johnson pick up his win? He's won 4, Brad Keselowski 3, Harvick and Truex 2, Kyle Busch and Joey Logano have both won once in Vegas.